Good morning everyone, my name is Jared and this is my channel Mazda B3K. This is going to be my first official Will It Run video. We're going to be working on a 1973 GMC Motorhome, and if it runs I'm going to take it home. Without further ado, let's get started. So let's drink it in a little bit. So this is a 1973 and it looks it. It's old, but so far it looks to be in pretty decent shape. I still need to get under it. In here, all sorts of fun wiring, but what's in the power barn, which is, we'll get to that in a second, but it's a Oldsmobile big block 455, which is kind of redonkulous, but let's take a look at the outside first. So we've got all original glass. Unfortunately, we may have some delamination happening. I'm not sure yet. Got to get it real clean, see what we get. Ooh, what's that sticker say? It says safety. Oh wow, that says New York State 93. This was up in New York. That's really interesting. This thing's been all over. So we've got, that's our fuel door, I believe. This has dual tanks. We got a sliding window. We've got some chicken chasers up on the roof, which is kind of neat. This is a 3-axle 6-tire setup. We've got rotors in the front, drums on the rear too. Look at all that glass. This window opens. I don't think this one does, but still, it's kind of cool that it's there. And there's a vent. I'm not sure what it's for. We got some vents up top. Have an air conditioner. Excuse the generator. I brought my own power to work on this, so it's going to get noisier as we walk back. So check out those drums. They're kind of ridiculous. Tires are pretty torched. We're going to try to get some air in them so I can get up, look at the frame. This is where you would connect to outside power, and this is also where you'd fill your water tank. Haven't really looked into that. Today's focus is getting it to run. And right here is our generator hutch. We have an Onan 4 kilowatt, and the battery tray is over yonder. Overall, this looks like it's in good shape. I have no clue about the status of the generator. That's something I'm going to get to after I determine whether or not the engine runs. Got some more glass here. Nice big bumper. This was used to tow. Got some use there. We got a spare, but let me give you a hint. This is not plant material. That's the spare. It's pretty torched. But then check out this back glass. Full panoramic view. It's really nice. You can see kind of the Jeep style taillights here, all the way back in '73. Let's take a look up the ladder here. Alright, so when we get up here, you can see the air conditioning unit might be a bit of a basket case. I'll have to dig into that if we get to the point of working on the house electrics. We've got some skylights. There's one there. There's one on the other side of the AC. We got some vents of various types. And whoever was last using this, they actually did a good job on sealing up vents so stuff wouldn't get in. We got some chicken chasers on the back, which is kind of neat. Alright, coming down. Make sure I don't kill myself here. Alright. Coming around, we have an awning. Haven't tried to open it yet, but I'm told It does open, and the awning is in dire need of cleaning. We've got another nice window that opens. Over here, let's see if I can get it to open up. Oh, I think both of these actually work. Let's see. Come on, there we go. That's one. There we go. We have our propane tank. And it's looking kind of crusty, so this would need to be replaced. According to the tank, it's empty, which is good, because I'd be a bit worried if this actually still had propane in it. Put that back down. My brother is here with me. He's working on getting some air in the tires. Let's kind of work around him. So this is the main door right here. It's the only actual door. One of the interesting things about this is it doesn't have a front driver and passenger door. If you want to get in, you go through the door on the side. That's it. Got some more glass up here. Got the side view mirrors. Extra viewing capacity. And then we have this right here that's going to be interesting to look at. As you can see, this disc is just shot, as in pieces of it are just missing. So that's going to be a curious thing to check out. This thing also has an air suspension. Haven't really worked on that yet. Let's go ahead and take her inside. So walking in, got small kitchen, a lot of cabinets. Someone put a microwave in there. More cabinets. Directly above you is your air conditioner. And then you have a sofa. You've got a little table here. Now this sofa will convert into a bunk bed. And there's one of the arms for that. And this table folds flat. And this also will convert into a bed. Got more storage space, and most of these cabinets still actually work as far as the hinges work and all that. And I mean, there's going to be some work that needs to happen, but a lot of the original wood in here is still okay. It never really leaked. And then here, this is, I believe, for the awning. Actually, I believe this is for the awning, and then our sunroof here has its own little, or skylight, sorry, has its own control. OG Pioneer speakers, I think. And this brings us up front. We've got the key, which is nice. We've got the steering wheel. It has the signature GMC Chevy ooze all over it, so we're not going to touch that right this second. There's that fog I was mentioned earlier. I think that's the lamination, but just have to check. Pretty simple visors here. Oh, come on, go around. Oh, don't do that. All right, you stay there. I think we have an original sound system here. Again, Pioneer, very cool. There was some stuff added. Someone added this fan controller, but I don't think it goes anywhere. I think that's the other end of the wire. And now let's take a look at what you probably all been waiting for, power barn. Moving on to the back, we've got a refrigerator that I'm told still does actually work. We got more storage. Come over here. You've got, this is your closet, and if you come, this whole thing is currently leaning at an angle, so it makes walking a little bit interesting. This is your shower slash bathroom, and I think it's okay. I still need to check the gray water tank, see what's going on with that, but that's there. A lot of these latches need some love. And then this is, I guess, kind of like a sunroom, a reading room. there's two sofas back here that you can set up, and if all the mechanisms here, they fold down. See, we got this arm right here. It folds down to make a bed. Don't know how well that still works. Again, that's a lower priority. We do have some age-related stuff like that. Trim pieces off. Looks like it just screwed into little blocks of wood that were hidden back there. And also this plastic's pretty delicate. You can, just comes right off. So I suspect that stuff like that, I'm not sure if there's replacement parts for that, but we'll see. I think this is a speaker. And what's really neat is over here, we have a thermostat. So if you were back here, you could actually use this thermostat for both the AC, and there should be a furnace in here that's part of why the propane tank's in here. I'm not sure where it is yet. I haven't located it. We got this cool little reading light, and we even got a 12-volt accessory port back here. Very cool. So that's pretty much the inside. Let's talk about what we're doing here today. Here it is, Oldsmobile 455. This is the same engine that they put in the 1973 Toronado. Best I can tell, it's all mostly here. Now, I've been up here before. This is not my property. The owner of this is willing to let me work on this to see if I can get it running, and if it runs, I'll buy it. Carburetor was off, air cleaner was off, all sorts of nuts, acorns, and whatnot. I've gotten most of it out, but if you look closely, there's stuff I couldn't get out. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to lift the lower intake to get it out, and that's going to be kind of ridiculous, but that's what we got to do. Moving on to the back, we've got a refrigerator that I'm told still does actually work. We got more storage. Come over here. You've got, this is your closet. And if you come, this whole thing is currently leaning at an angle, so it makes walking a little bit interesting. This is your shower slash bathroom, and I think it's okay. I still need to check the gray water tank, see what's going on with that, but that's there. A lot of these latches need some love. And then this is, I guess, kind of like a sunroom, a reading room. There's two sofas back here that you can set up, and if all the mechanisms here, they fold down. See, we got this arm right here. It folds down to make a bed. Don't know how well that still works. Again, that's a lower priority. We do have some age-related stuff like that. Trim pieces off. Looks like it just screwed into little blocks of wood that were hidden back there. And also this plastic's pretty delicate. You can, just comes right off. So I suspect that stuff like that, I'm not sure if there's replacement parts for that, but we'll see. I think this is a speaker. And what's really neat is over here, we have a thermostat. So if you were back here, you could actually use this thermostat for both the AC, and there should be a furnace in here that's part of why the propane tank's in here. I'm not sure where it is yet. I haven't located it. We got this cool little reading light, and we even got a 12-volt accessory port back here. Very cool. So that's pretty much the inside. Let's talk about what we're doing here today. As I already mentioned, we are going to be taking this up. So to do that, I think that's maybe an EGR or something like that. That's got to come out. There's some other things along the periphery that got to come out, and we're going to work on that and lift it out. get everything clean. I do have a replacement gasket. It's the big pan style, and that's going to be interesting. First time I've done it. But once all that is done, you know, we'll put some gas in the carb I've got, and we'll try to fire it off. Alrighty guys, so first things first, is it locked? I don't know. So I went ahead, I did take a look at the frame, and considering this thing's 50 years old, the frame's in really good shape. So that's a pass. What we're working on now is the crank bolt, and I know the camera's not really picking it up. Let's see here. But it's kind of enormous. Yeah, alright, well, I just have to take my word for it. So I'm going to see if I brought anything that'll actually fit it, if I can get it on there. We're going to turn it. Oh, flexi hose. Mortsky would not be happy. Go ahead and turn it and see if she's free. Alright, party people, so update. This is a 30 millimeter, and you get it on there, and that's all I can do one-handed, but she turns. And I'm using this as a reference. I made sure this went around twice, and we do that to make sure we cover the full travel of the cylinders, all 8 of them, their intake and exhaust strokes, to make sure there's no tight spots anywhere in there, and there were not. So this engine is free, and the frame is good. So now we can actually get started on removing the lower intake, getting that clean, and inspecting the spark plugs and loosening them up and all that jazz. So we're going to get at these spark plugs from inside of here. The 3 in the back, driver's side, easy. This one might be tricky because the alternator bracket's there. 3 on this side, pretty easy. There's a chair above us, and then we got to get under the the AC compressor, but again, not too bad. So that's the next step. We're going to examine these plugs. Plugs will tell us a lot about how the engine was running before it was parked. Let us know if there's any major bad wrong things, even though it's free. So we'll take a look at that. We'll spray some PB down the cylinders so that when we try to spin it with a starter, we don't score up cylinder walls or anything like that. And then we'll work on this intake. Alright, so these are old school 13/16 plugs. And we took one out so far. Here it is. I took my boot out too. Awesome. This is it's an Autolite 847, and when we take a look at the actual plug, it's worn, it's seen use, but it's in good shape. It was burning well. That bodes well. So that's 1 down, 7 to go. Alright, so as we've been working our way up the driver's side, this is the one in the front. You can see this one is sooty, which means it was running a little bit fuel rich. Still not very worn, still firing. I'm still okay with this, but it is interesting because the ones in the back were burning just fine. I don't know much about the 455, so this could be a 455 thing, or it could have been one of the reasons why this got parked. We will find out.
What's this linkage?
So the last one we pulled out, it looks pretty good, but obviously you can see there's a problem. It snapped when I got it loose. We lucked out that it came out clean. So we'll have to go to the auto parts store and pick up a new one, and then we'll be back in business. The other 7 plugs checked out okay, so I'm going to get some lube in that cylinder and then get this back in, and we'll keep going. So this is the carburetor that we have. My brother is working on trying to basically degoopify it the best he can. We know from looking at the casting numbers that this is not the right carburetor for this engine. It is for a smaller engine that went in the Tornado a few years later. It's still going to work, it just won't run well. But for our purposes, for just making sure this engine will fire off, this is what we got, and this is what we're going to use. So I was looking through, I was getting ready to work on the fuse panel here, and I found this. This is the build sheet for this RV. Lays out all the stuff it came with, and it's in good shape, so that's pretty cool. And the serial or the VIN matches. And now I know what the base was. It's a 160, and it lays out all the accessories it came with, the transmission. It verifies this is a 455 Oldsmobile V8. Has all sorts of cool information in it. But anyway, what I'm going to be working on is taking these fuses out, ohm checking them, and putting new ones in where I've got fuses that'll work. Because some of these seem to be a little bit kind of odd ducts, like this little 4 amp down here. But I want to go through these, make sure none of these are for a starting circuit, so that we can actually try to crank this. Alright guys, get you caught up to speed to what we did here. So that plug there was the one that broke. Fixed that. We managed to get the ignition to where it could get into the crank or the start position, but no joy. So there's probably some wiring that's boogered up. Thought it was this wire here, so I made a repair. That didn't fix it. So then I broke out my remote start switch and got, oh, here's the switch. Let me show you where we had to hook in. So there is, you see where the black thing is, there's a small post that it's connected to, and behind the big nut, which is the 4-gauge power going into the solenoid. And then the other end of this is on the positive side of the battery. So now when you push the button, okay, Jordan, do not spray ether.
I got it.
When you push the button, it cranks. So we got that. The starter works, battery key wiring is working, and all that good stuff. And now I'm going to put it on camera, but since we don't have a working carb, we were just trying to see, will this thing fire? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to let this crank a little bit to build oil pressure, and then I'll have my brother spray a little snort of ether in there, and we'll see if we'll get her to fire. Oh. Alright, go ahead. And there you have it. So it does run. This is a runner. I can't do much else because I don't have a carburetor, but she runs. So this is Mr. Rose, and this is the gentleman who currently owns this, and he was kind enough today to let me spend the whole day in his front yard working on this thing. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
And it runs. There's still a ton of work that needs to be done, but it runs. So now comes actually the most difficult part of this, is going home and convincing the wife that I spend the roughly probably $1,500 to $2,000 needed to get this thing home so I can work on it. So we will continue this video once I get it home.